I am grateful for the grace of heaven and the virtue of our masters. I thank the merciful guidance from above that has given me the opportunity to share and report with everyone in this class, Finding the Lost Heart. Dear virtuous predecessors, is your heart still with you or has it already wandered away? When your heart wanders off, many problems arise. So, by finding your heart again, many of your problems can naturally be resolved. Let us return to the text and explore together. 1. When a person doubts themselves, they forget that building self-confidence is a habit. Dear predecessors, when your heart is lost, you begin to doubt yourself. Have you ever doubted yourself, wondering, can I do it? Am I capable? Can I make it? When you have such doubts, it means your heart is gone, already lost. What should we do when that happens? The enlightened masters mercifully tell us, when you doubt yourself, you must remember to build confidence. Say to yourself, I can do it. I am capable. There are many ways to train confidence. During training, people often challenge themselves, facing large crowds, testing their limits, and conquering their inner fears. Dear predecessors, when you challenge and overcome yourself, your confidence gradually grows. When confidence becomes a habit, you will no longer doubt yourself. Why not give it a try? Make building confidence a habit, find your lost heart, and you will stop doubting yourself. So, finding the lost heart means helping yourself stop doubting, build confidence, and make it a way of life. Naturally, your lost heart will return. 2. When a person feels unmotivated at work, they forget that self-encouragement is a habit. Dear predecessors, sometimes when we are working, we feel tired or lazy. There's a saying in Taiwanese, while doing your job, you start to hate your job. Strange, isn't it? But that's how people are. After doing the same thing for too long, we naturally lose passion and walk into a dead end. When you lose your drive and your spirit fades, it's because your heart has gone missing. So, what should you do? The merciful masters teach us, encourage yourself. For example, in our temple, we often have advanced classes. When you come back to attend these courses, that's a form of self-encouragement. Make attending these classes a habit. Sometimes, a story, a sentence, or an act of encouragement from a fellow practitioner in class can reignite your faith. Through such encouragement, you naturally lift yourself out of low spirits. So, when you feel unmotivated, don't forget, self-encouragement is a habit. Keep yourself moving forward, keep learning, and keep uplifting yourself. Let us grow and learn from each other as we continue exploring this topic. 3. When a person finds life dull, they forget that heartfelt appreciation is a habit. Dear predecessors, how do we find our lost hearts? Sometimes life feels dull, day after day, year after year, everything seems repetitive. When you feel that way, it means your heart has gone missing. So, what should you do? The merciful masters tell us, always be in a state of appreciation. When facing people, events, and things, use your heart to feel and understand them. When you truly experience life with your heart, even plain water can taste sweet and soothing. You'll no longer find life dull. So, dear predecessors, when life feels monotonous, remember, heartfelt appreciation is a habit. Slow down your pace. In slowing down, you begin to see clearly. As the Kai Gen Tan, Vegetable Root Discourse, says, only through full experience can one truly see human nature. In this world, we see that true friendships are calm and enduring like water, while shallow ones are sweet like honey but fade quickly. Only through genuine understanding can relationships last long. Let's continue exploring the text. 4. When a person panics, they forget that courage and responsibility are habits. Dear predecessors, have you ever felt panicked or at a loss, wondering why things suddenly aren't going well, why nothing seems to go right? The merciful masters tell us, when you panic, it's because your heart is lost. When your heart is lost, you become confused and helpless. What should we do then? Be courageous. Take responsibility. Make courage a habit. Dear predecessors, when we practice courage and take on challenges, we gain experience. The more you train yourself, the more confident you become. You'll no longer panic or lose control. Isn't that true? When you keep challenging yourself, over time, courage becomes second nature. Then, when problems arise, you'll face them calmly. Let's look at the Chinese character, fear. It is composed of the radicals for heart and white. The word literally shows that when the heart is blank, we feel fear. When your heart is empty because you don't dare to take responsibility, fear naturally appears. But when you take responsibility, everything changes. You gain strength, and through responsibility, you learn and improve continuously. As the saying goes, only through learning do we realize our shortcomings. When it comes time to use knowledge, we regret not having learned enough. Why? Because only when you apply what you've learned do you realize there's still more to know. If you never use it, you'll think you already know enough. That act of using, of taking responsibility, is an act of courage. When courage becomes a habit, you naturally stop panicking or feeling helpless. Let us now continue to explore the text further. Five. When a person shirks responsibility, they forget that being fully prepared is a habit. Dear virtuous predecessors, when heaven entrusts us with a mission, do you bravely take it on, or do you try to avoid it? When you try to push away responsibility, ask yourself, why are you doing that? Let us take Kong Ming, Zhuge Liang, as an example. Everyone praises how brilliant he was. What made him so remarkable? In history, there's the famous story of borrowing arrows with straw boats. He used boats covered with straw to trick Chow Chow into shooting arrows at them, then collected those arrows for his own use. How could he achieve that? People say, everything was ready, only the east wind was missing. Kong Ming understood that when one is always prepared and waits for the right timing, success naturally follows. Dear predecessors, remember this: the east wind will always come, but whether it comes early or late depends on your readiness. When everything is ready, the timing will be just right, and your mission will be fulfilled perfectly. So when you find yourself avoiding responsibility, pause and think, have I truly prepared enough? If you were fully prepared, would you still try to escape it? Let us be like a sponge, constantly absorbing, constantly learning. Through continuous learning and absorption, we reach a state of full readiness. When you are ready, you no longer avoid responsibility. Instead, you will take it on courageously, gaining chances to contribute, to serve, and to fulfill your vows. Why wouldn't we do that, right? Therefore, when we shirk responsibility, the merciful Buddhas and saints remind us, it's because we've forgotten that being fully prepared is also a habit. Let us continue exploring the text. 6. When a person's mind runs dry, they forget that transformative thinking is a habit. Dear predecessors, sometimes we can't seem to think of a solution. The idiom, the bowels are dried up and the thoughts are exhausted, describes such a moment, when you simply can't think anymore. At that time, the merciful Buddhas and saints tell us, we must change our perspective, transform our way of thinking. Transformative thinking is a habit. Often, we become stuck in routines, bound by habits. Just like when we drive along the same route every day, habit leads us down the same path, even into dead ends. That's why the enlightened masters remind us, we must constantly practice switching perspectives and rethinking problems until it becomes second nature. When that habit forms, we'll no longer feel mentally stuck or out of ideas. By frequently shifting viewpoints and allowing ideas to collide, new inspirations will naturally emerge. So when a person faces repeated failures, it is because they have forgotten that transformative thinking is a habit. When we cultivate many good habits, our lost hearts will naturally return. Let us continue exploring the text. 7. When a person communicates poorly, they forget that sincere listening is a habit. Dear predecessors, sometimes couples argue, or parents and children experience a generation gap. Why does communication fail? When you can't communicate well with someone, have you ever stopped to think, why? You may ask yourself, this child is my own flesh and blood. Why can't we understand each other? Though generations differ, why does communication break down? The merciful Buddhas and saints remind us, why not sincerely listen? Listening is both an art and a discipline. When you listen with sincerity, you can discover the real problem. Then, miscommunication naturally disappears. Dear predecessors, when communication fails, with your students, your children, your spouse, or even your colleagues, be mindful, perhaps you've forgotten to truly listen with sincerity. When you use a sincere heart to listen to your partner, your parents, your children, your elders, your co-workers, and everyone around you, unexpected harmony arises, and communication flows naturally. Let us continue exploring the text. 8. When a person becomes arrogant, they forget that continuous learning is a habit. Sometimes, we see people who are conceited, what the ancients called the arrogance of the king of Yelang. Such people think highly of themselves, forgetting the truth that there are always people beyond people, and heavens beyond heavens. To avoid becoming self-righteous, we must keep learning. That's why our temple offers a series of advanced courses, to guide us toward continuous improvement. When we keep attending classes, we stay humble and open-minded. During classes, our thoughts are constantly refined and challenged by the enlightened teachings of the Buddhas and saints. As we reflect and think, we realize, this idea is great, that insight is worth learning. Especially when the divine guidance of wisdom descends, it is truly incredible. Through such constant learning, we make it a habit, and our lost hearts naturally return. We stop thinking we already know everything, and instead, we humbly say, perhaps I still have more to learn. When you think you already know it all, you stop learning, and worse, you stop growing. Let us return to the text and continue our exploration. (9) When a person is proud and arrogant, they forget that gratitude and cherishing blessings are habits. Dear predecessors, a person who practices gratitude and cherishes blessings will always be humble, never proud or arrogant. Think about it, arrogant people are never grateful. They take everything for granted. When someone treats everything as deserved, that person is surely proud. They lack filial piety, they don't respect peers, they don't listen to teachers, and they distrust others. For those of us on the spiritual path, we must constantly practice gratitude and cherish our blessings. Make it a daily habit. It's better to stay humble and remind ourselves, I still have room to improve. When we keep such humility, heaven blesses us with even more. In our temple, we address others respectfully as virtuous predecessors, and humbly refer to ourselves as later learners. It's not that we know less, it's a way to stay modest and grateful. Through humility and appreciation, we continue to grow. When we cultivate gratitude and make it a habit, pride and arrogance naturally fade away. Let us continue exploring the text. 10. Through the fiercest storms, we gain the confidence to steer the way. Dear predecessors, consider a sailor. Only after enduring the fiercest storms does he gain the courage and confidence to navigate through towering waves. How do we grow continuously? Only by facing problems, difficulties, and setbacks without fear. When you face them bravely, every challenge becomes nourishment for your growth. Only those who have sailed through the roughest seas can navigate with unshakable confidence. Let us continue exploring the text. 11. In the hardest environment, one must hold ambition and determination. Dear predecessors, everyone loves smooth times, but few enjoy adversity. Yet, the merciful Buddhas and saints once told us, good times eliminate sages, adversity creates them. Indeed, while we may enjoy comfort, it can make us lose direction. In contrast, during hardship, we face problems, difficulties, and setbacks. These challenges refine us and push us upward. Therefore, when we find ourselves in the most difficult situations, we must hold firm to our aspirations and resolve, for adversity is precisely the time when saints are forged. Let us remember this and continue exploring the text together. 12. Through the greatest obstacles, we gain the courage to move forward. Dear virtuous predecessors, why do obstacles exist? In truth, obstacles help us grow, they help us improve. Our merciful teacher, Ji Gong, once told us, why is it that during the white sun era, we can achieve enlightenment in one lifetime? Why? Because within this single lifetime, we experience both smooth and difficult circumstances. While everyone enjoys favorable conditions, it is in adversity that many obstacles arise. These obstacles, though invisible, are like whetstones that polish precious gems. While they may seem to hinder us, they actually make us shine brighter and glow with warmth. Therefore, when we face obstacles and difficulties, we must summon even greater courage to move forward. Each of us is Heavenly Mother's most precious gem. How can we make our gem shine? By facing obstacles without fear, standing firm in our resolve and pushing forward with courage. Through every impact and trial, your confidence will continue to emerge. So, when you face the greatest obstacles, let them give you the courage to break through and advance. Let us return to the text and continue our exploration. 13. Through the most painful trials, we cultivate perseverance and inner strength. Dear predecessors, heaven is compassionate. Mencius once said, when heaven is about to place a great responsibility on a person, it first tests their will with hardship, exercises their sinews and bones with toil, exposes them to hunger, subjects them to poverty, and frustrates their actions, so as to strengthen their resolve and build their capacity. Thus, When we go through the most painful trials, it is heaven shaping us, refining us. We must face all challenges with perseverance and strength. Every sage throughout history has endured the most difficult trials of life. Because they stood firm, strong, and steadfast, they eventually attained success and enlightenment. Dear predecessors, enduring the bitterest trials is how we become strong within ourselves. Let us return to the text and continue exploring. 14. Through the hardest missions, we learn responsibility and become true pillars. Dear predecessors, when heaven assigns us a task, we often give thanks when it is easy. But what if the task is difficult? In that case, we should be even more grateful for heaven's grace and our teacher's virtue, because heaven, in its mercy, knows that we are capable of carrying the mission and fulfilling it. Therefore, when faced with the hardest mission, we must take responsibility and rise to the challenge, for it is through difficult tasks that we are shaped into the pillars of the world. Every beam that supports a great hull must endure rigorous carving and countless refinements by the craftsman's hand. Likewise, to become a true person of virtue and ability, one must undergo many trials and polishings. Dear predecessors, as we strive to recover our lost hearts, we must be clear: the more difficult the mission, the greater our responsibility to become a pillar. Let us return to the text and continue exploring. 15. In learning from the Buddha and living as a person, don't hold on to the past, for the past is gone. Dear predecessors, do not be entangled with the past, for it has already passed. Do not be at odds with the present, for you must continue living forward. Do not quarrel endlessly with your partner, or you truly will not move forward together. Do not clash with petty people, for they quarrel with everyone. And do not be at odds with yourself, for everything eventually passes. Dear predecessors, please find your lost heart again. Let us reflect upon the teachings of the sages. Sometimes we trap ourselves in dead ends, so we must remember: don't fight with the past. As people often say, what is past is already gone. No matter how much you dwell on it, it remains the past. Therefore, do not struggle with what is gone. And likewise, do not be stuck with the present. Sometimes, we fixate on something from the past so deeply that it begins to affect our present selves. When it does, we naturally find life unbearable. The merciful Buddhas and saints remind us that, as cultivators in the white sun era, we have family responsibilities. We can marry, build families, and raise children, because marriage is an important part of our cultivation in this world. Thus, we are taught: do not be in conflict with your spouse, for if you cannot live in harmony, life itself becomes unbearable. In this world, there are always gentlemen and also petty people. When facing the latter, what should we do? The merciful Buddhas tell us: do not fight with petty people, for they are in conflict with everyone. You know they are petty, so don't get drawn into their struggles, yield a little, and peace will prevail. Finally, do not be at odds with yourself, because all things will pass. Dear predecessors, 100 years ago we were not here. 100 years from now, we won't be here either. So, learn to live in peace with yourself. May blessings be with you.